hours. Call Annie and tell her that we'll be home late.
Oh, my lord. Oh, my lord.
We're good?
All
right. Sweet. Can you do the music, the sound, and Meg?
Bring us in, music man.
I can't use it. I do have like a track, but I'm going away from my track just because it's a bit gammon.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah. So I'm just bring it in.
You got to bring it in.
So
all right, let's go.
I mean, we can go something like this. That's a bit gammon too, eh?
I don't mind it. Depends what kind of mood you're in.
Nah, it's getting old. Nah, I did have a track that would bring us in.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of my bros, D.O.B., David O'Brien in the flesh. Here we go. Hit this one.
Thank you.
It's okay.
That's way better. That's
yeah. Man, so good to see you, bro. Thanks for coming in.
This is actually pretty good because we actually haven't seen each other for a while. Anyway,
know.
last time we saw each other was camping.
That's it.
So this is actually pretty cool because we're actually catching up legit.
I know.
But we're recording it this time. So yeah.
Bro, what were we just talking about?
Sea snake.
Sea snake. Yeah, no, legit, man. I hadn't been for a swim in my morning ritual. I feel like I talk about it all the bloody time on here, but and especially all through the summer, is getting up, training in the morning, and then going for a swim in the ocean. And Leonie's old man's been here for the last week and a half, and so I've been getting up in the morning and spending a bit of time with him before my workday starts. So I've been missing it.
Yeah.
But as you know, in the last week and a half, the temperature has just literally dropped off. And so
Getting fresh.
back this morning, I was laying there in bed and I'm like, oh, maybe I could have an easy, lazy morning. And Leonie's like, go, just get over there. So I went for a run, and then that little voice in my mind, get in there, you bitch. Just go for a swim like this. And I was like...
Be a bitch.
It was... Man, the water was beautiful, bro. And I saw a sea snake. Yeah, legit.
It usually means reef, right?
Yeah, well, Miami Rocks. I've seen one down there before.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a massive one. Like, it was probably, good foot long or so. And I just thought it was a bit of coral just sort of floating in the water, because the water too is like perfect. And but walked over to it, and then it's just like, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, doing a bit of fishing up in 1770, if you see a sea snake, you know that there's like a shoal or a bit of reef around.
Yeah,
so usually when you see sea snakes, you know there's reef around. If you can't see any kind of land or anything around, or you've got no depth sounder or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to find reef.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Yeah, I was fishing on the weekend, so yeah, I know what you mean. Like in terms of temperature and stuff like that. The water was beautiful, but outside was like, fresh.
Yeah, exactly. This morning, man, I wanted to stay in for longer, and it's so good, man. No one's in the water this time of year. It's great.
Yeah, they're all soft. Where's all the ice bath crew? Are they out there or like?
No,
they're doing ice baths.
No, they're not yet.
I'm like, every time I come down to Gold Coast, I'm like, this is literally where everybody's taking an ice bath. They're all from the Gold Coast, right? Every time you see
true.
them. And I'm like, I just think every time I come down here in winter, I'm like, where's the ice bath people out here?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, out there swimming.
It's so good though, man. Like just going in this morning, having a swim, and I just get out, go for a coffee. I come home and I was just like, I just looked at Leonie. I was just like, that's me.
That's the life, man.
It is. So I'll be back there. I'll be there tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can just commit and go through the winter.
What time are you doing this, by the way?
This morning was a bit later at about 6:30.
Yeah, right.
But like, I used to go when it was dark, and now it's just too fucking cold. I think I just need a little bit of sunlight. Yeah. So just now, when the sun just comes up over, do you know how much like the sun just warms instantly, right?
Yeah.
Now, as soon as you just get that little bit of sunlight. So I'll see how I go, mate.
Yeah,
but
you'll be right.
Anyhow. What have you been up to, bro? Wait, I just want to just say, from a professional level, how I know you and what you've had a huge influence on my life and career with is sales coaching, sales training, bro. And if I had to package up or write a list on the most influential people that have affected me from a business point of view, you're on that list, brother.
Cool, man.
And I honestly look at you and see you as an amazing salesperson, sales trainer, and sales team builder. So, bro,
awesome.
There's some flowers for you, bro.
Thanks, man. I'm like, what do I do with that? Yeah, it's crazy. It's so funny though, because like early in my career, because obviously I was a chef by trade originally, and then when I got into the sales business, I had an opportunity to become a sales trainer and open a company.
Yeah.
I only ever learnt sales because I didn't want to be in something where I didn't know what I was coaching.
Okay.
So sales for me was like, I was never really that interested in sales, to be honest. I was interested in the opportunity that came with sales for me to kind of govern my time a little bit more and live in the business world a little bit and really understand what it took to kind of like be a part of something that wasn't just a normal job day to day. So I was attracted to sales by the opportunity, but sales itself, I wasn't never really impressed with my own skills, like, to be honest. Like, I was always like, nah, I'm not going to be one of those trainers that goes out there and teaches people what to do when I'm not good myself, or I don't know what I'm talking about. And that was just a little piece of me that I always just really didn't really respect people that were trying to teach me something where I thought that I could be better than them, and I always sort of kind of feel a bit awkward with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely, man.
And that came from martial arts, right? Because I always had this guy trying to teach me stuff, and I'm like, man, but I can choke you out.
I will smash you.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, so what? Like, and I felt bad because he was a nice guy, but I could never look him in the eye. I couldn't really respect him, and I carried that with me into business, where I was like, nah, I'm not going to be one of those guys that doesn't know what I'm talking about. So, for me, it's actually really weird hearing someone saying that I'm good at sales and I'm a great trainer, all that kind of stuff, because I never really looked at myself as really that good at sales. I saw lots of people that had the opportunity or the ability to get good at sales. But what I've discovered later on is actually that's the reason why I got good at sales, because I didn't have that natural persona to be good at sales. I couldn't lean on anything that was like, I wasn't this naturally gifted kind of wordsmith guy kind of. So I actually had to learn how to do sales kind of like, I guess, the hard way, which is through learning systems and practice and finding a way through. So I believe some people that are naturally really good salespeople, when they start and everything that works, they've got great persona and all that kind of stuff, I think almost in a way that they actually struggle as trainers and teachers because they don't really fully understand sales themselves. They don't really understand why they're good at sales.
Craft, they don't know it.
They don't know it. They just are good at it, right?
Yeah.
So,
How do you identify problems if you don't understand it like that?
Exactly.
And that's, bro, you pull that shit apart.
Yeah. At one point there, I dug in there and go, how do I get better at this? Like how do I get better at sales? And I really dug in there because I really wanted to be good at it, because I wanted to be a good trainer and I wanted the opportunity to be a great sales manager because it was better money. And I don't know, I changed my career and I want to get ahead in sales, and starting in a sales company 20 years ago on commission, and all the opportunity was as trainers. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't really make a lot of money in sales, like down the bottom end, right? You were doing an apprenticeship, and yeah, it was crazy, right? So I was like, I want to really quickly get out of this, and I want to get into a position where I can coach and train people. But I didn't want to be a counterfeit. I didn't want to be a person that got there just because, you know, I knew people and whatever. I was like, no, I want to be a good sales trainer, so I need to know what I'm talking about.
Bro, what when you get a new sales recruit or someone that wants to do sales, what's the first thing you try to teach them?
Okay, well, I think first of all, you got to find the right type of personality for sales, which is really tricky, right? Because I believe in one way you can kind of really teach basic fundamentals to people in sales, but there's a certain type of person that I believe just functions well in a performance environment, because sales is a performance environment. You're constantly talking with people. You have to produce information. Sometimes you need to deal with different levels of resistance and certain things. So these type of people that get really good at sales, and it depends what kind of sales we're talking about as well, right? Like, you know, whatever. I feel like there's a certain thing that I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who's probably a little bit more courageous, like they're not afraid to come up against resistance. I've got to see that in them. There's a little bit of, I say, a little bit of go about them, you know what I mean? Like a little bit of like, hey man, and why did you fail at that job? And they can come back at you a little bit and go, yeah, well, you know. So I look for certain little traits and tweaks in people that I go, oh, okay, that was good. Like, I like the fact that you push back a little bit there in the interview process. But I think the next thing is really just sort of like someone that has capacity to learn quickly in an environment that is not really like, sales environments they're high pressure. A lot of people hire people to do sales because they're not very good at sales themselves. So it's a results-driven industry, right? And that's a lot of pressure for someone who's brand new, like a normie off the street, and you're trying to teach them sales. You're essentially trying to teach them how to operate under pressure, where everyone's trying to look for a result. They're not really interested in you figuring things out a lot of the time, so they need to be able to handle that, right? So there's a little bit of that in there. But I think the first thing that I train someone, when I just get someone off the street who wants to get involved in sales, I think the first kind of training is like, a little bit of product knowledge on the product and getting them comfortable with what they're going to be talking about and that. I guess the next thing is probably, really understanding for them, what is the difference between the mindset of the normie and the mindset of the salesperson?
Ooh, okay.
You know what I mean? And that's a big one. Is like, for me, it's massive difference, right? The normal person, when you expose them to resistance for long enough, and because most salespeople are usually getting issues or things they're going to deal with, or like no's and blockages and stops like all the time. Normal people, when they hear enough negatives, they start to emulate the negative. They come back and go, oh, no one's got any money at the moment to spend on advertising, or no one's got this and no one's got that. Yeah, look, it's really tight for and they start to emulate these negatives and they reverberate them and make them larger. And that's the reason why they're not doing so well at the moment, right? Whereas the actual salesperson is almost like an entrepreneurial mindset where they see the resistance, they hear it, but they find a way through it.
Okay.
They don't get affected so much by the person on that end. They go, yeah, I hear that. We hear that a fair bit, but can you afford not to advertise right now? You know what I mean? So they find a way through. They're not afraid to kind of, offer a different point of view, and they've got to have some kind of courage in them to be able to do that with a customer, so that's I guess that's the first thing that you're really trying to install in them is like, it's just a numbers game.
Yeah.
Like realistically, it's just a numbers game, but you've got to stay mentally focused and strong on your point of views and perspectives on why the product's great. Just about everyone you're going to speak to is going to find a reason or show some kind of resistance towards your product. So you've got to be prepared to try to find a way through every time you hear resistance. Whereas most people, you get a normie, you just plonk them down and go, okay, cool, man, we're selling this today. A lot of the times, man, they're just not ready for that level of resistance, and they might, pop off at the end of it and just go, hey, man, I learned a lot today, but look, you know what? There wasn't a lot of people in that group that had a lot of money. Or there's not a lot of people that need that right now and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then that's when you got to start to expose them to, hey, listen, man, everyone you talk to has got some reason why they're not buying it. You've got to uncover, and find and dig through that resistance to find out why they're even talking to you. Like, why are you looking? Why are you here? Or, you know what I mean? And get past the resistance so they can make a decision whether this is actually truly, have a look at whether this is for them or not. You know what I mean? So that's probably one of the first things we teach them about is like how they view the prospect as like, it's just a numbers game.
Yeah.
If we focus on the process of like, yep, we're speaking with this person, we're doing that, we're doing a great job, but don't get affected by the resistance that you're getting and start to think like them.
Yeah.
You got to think like us. Everyone needs it.
Yeah. Okay. And do you find that with, say, an objection, like there's probably only a handful that you will receive, right? Like if you're selling a particular product, there's probably only a handful of objections that you'll have to work with.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's right. Like there's a few different types of really objections that you're going to get. Some are like, are just really common, like limiting belief things where they go, oh, I've just heard that a couple of mates spent all this money on this and they didn't get anything out of it kind of thing. And they're kind of really just like your opportunity really to go, okay, cool. I'm, sorry to hear that. A lot of people actually say something similar to that. So I'm using kind of like, just because we're in an advertising firm, I'm kind of automatically switching towards more of like an advertising style thing. But we've heard like a lot of people have blown a lot of cash on things and you really get a result and stuff like that. What's the real reason do you think that actually happened inside of that business? And they'll start to uncover really quickly that they don't know.
Okay.
They've just heard their mate whinging that they spent all this money on advertisement. I don't really know what happened in the real details. I just heard that, I used to always hear about how we spent all this money and you know what I mean? I just don't want that to happen to me. And you go, okay, cool. So you want to make sure that you get results and you want to see some kind of traction and stuff like that. That's perfectly normal at this stage, mate. No stress. You know what I mean? Like, often there's things where you can just offer a little bit of insight and a little bit of like assurance or reassurance at this stage, right? Because you don't know much about it, but also want to uncover how much you know about it as well. Like what kind of level do you know about how badly that went or whatever? Because often if you uncover it, like as you would know in the industry, like when you really sort of start to undress things a little bit, you start to realise that there's not really much substance to a lot of these kind of limiting beliefs. Do you know what I mean? They're quite frail or fickle, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. And they're actually really easy to get through once you open them up and discuss them. A lot of people, like the normie mindset or the newer guy or the person that's just learning or whatever, probably doesn't really want to deal with that during a presentation or having a chat with a sales call. They're kind of, oh, okay, sorry to hear that, and then they kind of just like kind of avoid it. Whereas I'm happy to hit it straight on, right?
Yeah.
Just go, okay, cool. What do you know about it? Like, why didn't it go well? So there's those types of objections, which are kind of like limiting beliefs or just little things that are kind of like, stopping someone from really pulling the trigger and maybe like going online and just finding it automatically because as you see, they need to talk to a human being and they need reassurance or kind of maybe a little bit of information. Then there's kind of like actually objections, which are like fundamental objections towards the product or something, and that's really the reason that's stopping them from pulling the trigger. But there's a certain reason why they don't see the value in it, or there's a huge risk here, or they're the ones you really have to address correctly.
Yeah.
And there's a way of doing that, right? So there's different types of objections. So we call them common objections, which are like kind of like common things that pop up when you're talking about that particular product. And then there's like kind of like actual objections to the product, and it's the things stopping them from doing it. And then you want to uncover, isolate that a little bit, and then find out why, and then re-educate the client as to why that's probably the way you're looking at it. I totally get it, but this is the way I look at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we look at it like this, and it's super important. It's actually, you can't afford not to have this. New customers coming right now, and you're offering a different perspective with the objection and showing, hey, well, this is the way we look at it. And then hopefully by the end of that, you know what I mean? Like they come to a kind of decision, like, that's a different way of looking at it. Yeah, you make a good point or whatever, depending on the product, right?
With regards to objections, how important do you think the first impression is as a salesperson in the whole sales process?
Man, it's massive. Control, like looking at the other person and thinking that they're a little bit of an expert in the product, relaxing the client, making them feel comfortable, like building rapport and things like that. So important in the start, just to depressure things, relax, ask a couple of quick questions and things like that. That's massive later on in the pitch.
Yeah, when you go to close.
Yeah, like when they do bring out some resistance to your product, right? If I've got great rapport with you and you've got respect for me because of like, hey man, what are you up to? Like, what have you been up to today? And you treat me as like an equal and you respect the way I'm approaching you. I'm not, giving you any fake kind of sales talk and stuff like that. I'm very real with people when I'm in a sales situation because I'm just kind of helping you buy. I'm helping you get the right information. Highlighting the benefits of the product, how it can help you, and hopefully I can give you enough information to get you to buy. I'm not here to sell you anything really, right? So that's the way I look at it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm there to help you make a decision to buy. I'm not like sales to me, selling someone to me sounds a little bit like headlocking someone to get them to do something they don't want to do.
Yeah.
Whereas actually the art of sales, I suppose, is actually like me giving you the right information. Having a talk about some of the things that probably stopped you from getting into the past and offering a different perspective to get you, I guess, excited enough to want to buy the product.
Yeah.
And then that's where the close comes from, where I can go, okay, well, this is the next step, right? So, to bring it back, sure, the first impression is super important, especially when I was in financial sales, property sales. That was majorly important because they know you're there to sell them something, and they're usually like really kind of quite guarded and breaking down those walls and just going, hey man, I'm normal. I'm just here to show you. It's okay. What have you been up to, mate? I noticed the footy ball at the front door. You don't play rugby union, do you? Yeah, okay, cool, good to hear. You know what I mean? So I'll muck around with them, relax them a little bit before I get into it. And that just gives people a really good vibe, and that certainly helps later on. When I offer a different opinion, I'm not arguing with you. I feel like we've kind of like equaled out a little bit. We've matched a little bit. There's a little bit of respect there. So when I do offer a different opinion, it doesn't feel like I'm attacking or trying to fight you or wrestle you.
Yeah.
It's like, hey man, look, I totally understand what you're saying. This is the way I look at it. So rapport's massive, right? The way in is huge. The first impression, definitely.
Do you think you can build too much rapport where it harms you?
100%.
Tell me about this.
It's like, it's really difficult, hey, without having live kind of examples or a specific product or whatever. But look, just to keep it general, too much rapport is like getting too personal, too deep into things to the point where they feel so comfortable with you that you become a bit of a pushover. There's a balance to it, like a tuning fork, right?
Yeah.
Where like I want you to feel comfortable with me, but I want you to feel like you can run over the top of me and control my conversations and stuff. Like, if this is a sales presentation, whether it's a lead on the way in or it's been set up or I've met you for the first time or whatever, I don't know what the lead in is depending on the product, but most of the time, like, I've got a limited amount of attention with you to really kind of get my point across and hear your side of it to see if we've got something we can work with, right? So I want to get into that. I've got urgency in the way that I approach it. So even when I'm building rapport, I'm like, cool, man. And how is, bam, and I'm straight into it, right? I'm like, cool, that's great. Now I'm going to get you comfortable really quickly, but I'm not sitting there going, oh, wow, and, you know, banging on for 30 minutes, an hour into rapport.
Yeah.
They're sending me home with milk bottles and fresh eggs, right? And then they walk away and go, listen, Dave, thank you so much for coming out. You know, you're amazing.
Amazing.
Do you know what I mean? But no, we're right. Thanks. You know what I mean? I'm like, there's nothing.
We got a lot.
Yeah. I feel so close to you, Dave. I feel like I can be really honest with you. No, they need to respect you a little bit, right? It's like, and this is one of the things I learned from one of my mentors that you know, Brian Upton. He's still crushing it to this day. This guy, he's doing like 7 marathons in 7 days. And he's a friggin' animal, this guy.
Shout out to Brian.
Shout out to Brian. Mr. Bupton. Hey, we love him. He's a legend, right? And I remember watching this guy, and the way he built rapport was like, they felt like they were talking to a surgeon. They respected him the way he moved and he spoke. But he was also very like personable and could start a really great conversation with them, but didn't go to the point where he was like really digging into like, we're best mates now. He kept a little bit of distance there, but he made them comfortable enough to know that now I can progress. I feel like there's a bit of comfort in the room now. Now I'm going to introduce the main reason why I'm here today and what we're going to actually go through.
Yeah, you're on purpose.
Purpose, but definitely rapport.
Cool. Oh, you spoke about numbers before. You said remind them that sales is a numbers game.
Yeah.
So how important for a salesperson is it, do you think, keeping numbers? And what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Numbers?
Yeah, okay, that's a good question. Look, numbers are really important, like KPIs and stuff like that. Look, like I've always thought in terms of process, not results. I don't control the result really, like when it comes down to it. So I knew in the financial industry that essentially if I sat down in a one-on-one sit with someone, a financial sit with someone, that I would get a positive result probably 1 in 3 times. So for me to get a certain result, I needed to book myself a certain amount of appointments. I have a certain amount of appointments to book. Otherwise, I was leaving it up to chance, right? Which we call a law of averages, right? So for me, I always focus on the process, which is like if I have like 3 appointments a day minimum, I know the chances are with my close rates and my KPIs, if they're good quality leads that I sit down with, then my results are like 1 in 3 I'll close. Then I just know that, okay, I just got to focus on getting 20 appointments this week or 17 appointments or 12 appointments or whatever for me to get the goals that I need to hit for me to maximise bonuses and do a great job or whatever, etc. So my numbers, I had to first of all understand benchmarks and standards in the industry, and I used to have to ask around about that. Some companies will offer them. Well, like, hey, we've had salespeople in before. Out of every 10 leads they speak to, they're getting like this interaction rate, or and out of those people that kind of want to find out more leads or find out more stuff, they'll convert most of those into a sit, and then out of the sits, we kind of closing about running through. That's great if you've got a business like that because there's benchmarks there and go, okay, I know what I'm aiming at. So for me to get, so what's a successful week look like for me, Blake? And you say, well, listen, if you can close 2 deals for me a week, look, we can more than happily like accept the fact that we're paying your wages and stuff like anything above that. Now we start to talk about you're doing a great job, right? But so there's that side of it, right? So then I go, okay, cool. So how do I get 2 sales a week? What's the activity? Show me show me the actions that go into producing 2 sales, and hopefully you've got some history there or whatever. If you're with a product that's brand new and you don't have that, then you've got to create it almost. Like you've got to go in there with a really solid attitude and kind of find out what your KPIs and your numbers are by running the volume and going, okay, cool, I spoke to 100 people, I got kind of 20 people interested over the phone, and I went into a face-to-face appointment with 10, and out of those 10, I kind of closed 2 pretty quickly, and then 2 I had to kind of follow up on, and I chased them for a bit, and 1 came to a sale and 1 didn't. And after a while, you'll start to see the numbers will firm up and become more consistent. But if you've got an industry where there is benchmarks, that's really cool because you can go, okay, I know what I need to do to get that result. And then I can tweak and tighten and get better with those conversion once I reach the benchmark. But if you've got no benchmark, that's what I would do first, is try to create one.
And go in hard.
Going hard.
Smash some.
Yeah, sit there, like, cool. How many numbers we got? Mate, we got 1,000 leads. Cool. And just sit there from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and just crunch it, because you've got a certain amount of time, but you've also got to remember when you're working on a new product, your KPIs are going to be a little bit lighter on the front end where you're figuring products out and you're getting more confident. So if it's a new product or a new something that you're offering, a new company that you've started and you're trying to figure out KPIs, that's a different ball game, right? You need someone who's experienced to get in there and really roll it. And,
because you are adapting. How long, like if you're, so what we're talking about now, a bit of context, so you're talking about when you're going into an organisation and they're either go, look, I've got this new product or new service that I want to take to market. So you either got to create a process or you're coming in on an existing process. So, so where was I going with that? I was going into...
Numbers. You like numbers?
No. I was gonna talk about. I think when do you because you got to adapt, right?
Yes.
But how long? Because you can't keep changing and adapting. Because then you look back at your numbers and like, what are you learning? Like, so how long do you sort of do the litmus test for?
I gotcha. So it's like when you change the parameters of the experiment. Yeah, it's really difficult. Like, it's hard to say. You will start to get to a point where you're comfortable with one of the KPIs and you can lock that in. Then there's kind of like with experience, like, me being in the industry for sort of like 22 years now and stuff like that, working across all these different products and seeing, coaching, training large groups of people, you start to see that there's a little bit of a trend across the industries, and it's more like each industry will have kind of like a certain kind of like benchmark that they're kind of working for, and you get to learn those over time. But initially, you really just got to work hard to sort of figure them out. Do you know what I mean? And not change the experiment once you locked one in. Then go, let's go to the next bit. Is this the best way that we can get the figures out of this next bit? But almost, if I went into a certain product that was similar to another one and I was getting a 60% conversion rate from lead to sit, and I knew in other industries, there's guys getting like 70 or 80%, I'm like, ooh, maybe there's something in our system that's not working here because it's a brand new product that we can tweak, get better, streamline to get the better numbers. And we will run and change that as we're doing it, but we will notice the shift. So we'll compare the numbers and watch the percentages change and go, whoa, we got a 12% lift there. Let's keep it like that for a while and run some more numbers. Then we'll look at the next part of the process. So it is like almost like you're rolling and then you change one bit, see how that rolls, and then you change one bit. It is like tweaking and changing as you go along, but it's all about volume. The more volume you see, the more it tells you, the more honest it becomes, the KPIs.
You've got to track those. So where do you keep your numbers? Because they're everything, right? Because otherwise you're just gambling. Because you get to the end of it and it's just like it's a generalization or a thought. Oh, I feel like, I'm getting this, I'm hearing this, there's so much of this. But when you actually look at the number, it's like, no, actually, out of 10, there was only the last 2.
Exactly right. So that's really interesting. So a lot of people just like keep manual KPIs and go, oh yeah, da-da-da-da. But like every single product, the data is critical, right? Because like you said, you've got to separate emotion and how you felt. I've just felt really good with those last 5. Like they were really great interviews and stuff like that. And you go, yeah, your conversion rate was really strong on the other 5 where you actually didn't feel so great about it, but you had a stronger conversion rate on the front end than you did on this one. So the figures are like almost like, despite how you feel about it, this is actually literally what's going on. Here you had a stronger conversion rate here, but here you had a stronger, you know what I mean? So it's a real truth teller Because I can feel like I've had a really great week with something and then look back at my KPIs and go, whoa, my close rate was actually like a good significant notch under where it was last week where I was really struggling, you know what I mean? So how you feel is actually not in line with your KPIs and your figures. They don't lie to you. Like figures don't lie to you.
Yeah.
It's maths. It's like, cool. Yep. Great. Conversion rates here dropped for whatever reason.
Where do you encourage most organisations, like salespeople, keep these numbers, or how do they keep them? Like where?
Yep. In the organisation that I'm using it that I'm working with and consulting with at the moment, we have 500 employees. So it's a big organisation, sales organisation. They've actually they're using a company called Ortop, and they've created their own software that all of the KPI metrics the guys fill in when they're out in the field, and they build into it, and then all the sales data feeds in that as well.
Right.
And they can see all their conversions literally all the way through. It all feeds into this kind of mother program where team leaders and managers at different levels can access on the back end, all the way down to profit and everything, right? Yeah. So that's a massive feat for any company, but there's lots of programs out there, right, that you can use. There's there's Alltop, which is really specific for the sales industry, but can definitely branch out and doing different things. You can create your own. You can have a software engineer in your business that creates all this stuff for you. You can use spreadsheets. I mean, I used spreadsheets for years.
Yeah.
Where I created my own spreadsheets where literally I just recorded my KPIs week over week, month over month for my whole team. And I had a spreadsheet with all the team's names. And
Bro, literally when I started in insurance with you, was I would tally with a pen on my diary. And then at the end of the week, I would tally and fill out like a binder.
Yeah. It's so funny.
Saying that.
Yeah,
And a dinosaur was just walking.
we 21 years ago, we had test and measure sheets that we used to draw with a ruler.
Yeah.
And we would, presentations, stops, closes, So
is that
any way to record it, but that's very hard to access for the management. What you just go, because we used to say to guys like, man, did you fill out your KPI sheets?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've got to do that. Sorry, mate. Whereas now it's all digital, right? So you got these programs that can just
we got
every time you
dashboards
touch
now.
something, it's so easy now.
Right.
Like I have a laugh with my friend. It's actually one of my good friends runs this company, right?
Yeah.
We worked together 20 years ago. We started in the industry together, and it's really interesting because I go, man, look at how much information they've got at their fingertips now and how valuable that is, right?
Right.
For the dinosaurs in the industry, we're like, man, we were trying to get guys literally to fill out their KPIs was the hardest job, and now they're just all at the fingertips. And I find that they really don't know what to do with them.
Yeah. The information.
A lot of managers don't know how to
Information overload.
dissect. Oh, okay, he's doing a good job, kind of thing. I'm like, nah, man, have a look at what that's telling you.
Yes.
It's telling you a story that is the closest you'll ever get to the truth, despite how either person feels about it. You can see how to help the person. You can see everything about everything, right? Like inside of that KPI sheet, when you get really good at it inside of a specific product or industry, it tells a story. I can literally read someone's KPIs on the last 4 weeks, and I can kind of get exactly what they need to work on, which is crazy.
And what are the bones of that? Like, what are the basic KPIs? Because I remember doing it. It was back in our day. There were calls to appointments to presentations to sales, which was the CAPS formula. Is it essentially the same foundation for everything? Like it's like
with
identifying
a different coat of paint, right?
Yeah.
It's like lead to appointment to a presentation was like you can book an appointment if they don't show up.
Yes.
Or for some reason the presentation doesn't go ahead, you don't get a full presentation. Well, it's not a presentation.
Correct.
So there's different parameters, different industries. If you've got digital leads,
just on that, bro, the presentation one, I think that gets missed a lot. And people, it's like, oh yeah, no, I've been seeing these people. No, but did you present and did you close?
Yes.
Did you close? No, I didn't. Well, you didn't present.
Yeah,
so,
because that's interesting because that's what comes back to resistance, right?
Yes.
If I'm hello, how you going? We've got an appointment. Thanks very much for bringing your lead through, or however you found them, right? Is it digital? Thanks for inquiring, And you book a sit, whether it be digital, face-to-face, whatever it is, right? And you're talking to that person. If I'm getting shut down and all the resistance is coming on the front end of my pitch and I'm not getting a presentation out, I need to be able to see that. I need to know that, right?
Yep.
Because if you're going out there and go, no, mate, I got out 20 presentations, like I literally got out from start to finish. We built rapport. We went through everything. I got through the product. I sort of heard you. And you've got no resistance through that at all. And then your close rate at the back end is like at a certain percentage. I'm like, wow, this person's actually probably really taking control. They're doing a really great job through the presentation, the first part and stuff like that. So not getting a lot of resistance through these parts is actually shows that this person's in control of the conversation. They know how to handle themselves and display information. But then where it goes from presentations to close,
Yes.
that's where most of the resistance starts to come out, where they've presented the problem and go, yeah, but what about this? And what if that happens? And if they really drop off there, if these guys don't know how to really handle the resistance and the objections that are coming through to them, either they don't have the product knowledge, they don't have the technical skills to know how to turn something without it turning into a bit of like an arm wrestle or a battle, right? Because some people are like, oh, no, and they start to resist objections, whereas the better way to kind of do it is to go with it a little bit and go, yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah, like we have lots of people say that, right? But this is what we find when we actually show them this part, and what we actually think they're really saying is this, and then you get a chance to educate people the right way, and then they like it's more consumable to them because I'm not battling you. I'm like, yeah, man, that's a great point. And whereas you see a lot of like newer salespeople going, yeah, no, it doesn't work like that, mate. It doesn't work like that. And I'm like, oh, they're not going to consume that information better. You're not talking from their point of view. You're actually talking from yours, and it becomes a battle. And as soon as you become a battle in a sales situation or a face-to-face circumstance, or you're trying to get them to get excited about your product or whatever, I feel like you lose them a little bit.
You do.
You're creating someone that you kind of almost having like a little light argument with.
I think in a sales presentation, it's the worst when they just disengage.
Yeah.
And give you nothing. Like it's worse. Like if you've got someone that's like giving you objection, it's great because they're engaged.
100%.
But if someone's literally just like just stone, you go cold face. It's hard because then you're going back to the basics, rapport.
Yeah.
I've got to get the rapport going again, and I've got to get him. I've got to fight for that engagement again.
Yeah, I'm always looking for buying signs, cues, reasons for me to progress. And if they don't come out and they're giving me nothing, that's when I start to trial close a little bit and I start to dig. I go, cool, how does that all seem to you at the moment? Like, is that ticking your boxes in terms of like this part? And I want them to tell me, yeah, well, actually, yeah, mate. Or if there's any resistance, I want you to bring it out. I actually literally want that to happen right now, right? So I find that newer salespeople and people that are kind of new in the industry, they're kind of tiptoeing around it a little bit and don't want to deal with the objections. They kind of want to, get to this bit and get the deal done because they get a little bit excited and they want to move past it. And if I talk about it, it's going to get bigger. And it's like, no. No, it needs to come out now.
Yeah.
Like you need to, yeah, that's cool, man. Great point. No, we've had a lot of people ask the exact same question, right? The way we respond to that, let me show you how it works. But yeah, great question, mate. Does that satisfy? Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the way you actually even like interact with people, and sort of even the way that kind of like you turn that objection and you're not turning it into an argument or I'm clashing with your train of thought. I'm like, I'm with you. Get it. I love where your head's at with that. That's a great question. Let me show you. Yeah. So I want to bring them out. So when people show me resistance, that's actually a good thing, like you said. When they're showing me nothing, I want to bring out almost resistance, or I want to find out where you're at. And that's where trial closing becomes really important. It's your ability to be able to bring out, like, okay, well, where are we at, right? Are we moving ahead here, or do you know what I mean? But you're not doing it in a way that's quite rude, right?
Yeah.
Where you're going, hey, man, where are we at? Like, literally, right? We'll say, hey, man. So is that ticking all your boxes at this stage? Like, like you mentioned this and this and this on the way in. Is that the type of product that you're looking to get involved? Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, great. Let me show you how this next bit works then, right?
I love the dance. I'm just trying to reminisce and go back into the space of in my time, my glory days, and being in that pocket where you can feel the dance.
Yeah.
You know when you have control. You know when you don't. Oh, she's engaged. He isn't. I've got to cast a bit of get a bit of rapport going with him. Back up, love. Like there's this unseen dance and this intricacy that's happening, hey? And
some people don't want to give you a report.
No.
They're too smart, man. They don't want to.
Yeah, bro, I do that. Leonie's like, someone knocks on the door and she's like, you get it.
Yeah, I got this, mate.
Yeah. It's like,
what are you doing, mate?
yeah. Oh, that looks great. Yeah. No, we don't want
we're
it.
good, mate. We're not interested.
Come on. But bro, I love it when someone works you.
Yeah.
I go, man, Good hustle. Good hustle.
Bro, it's the only time I actually really get excited.
Do you want a job?
At someone trying to sell me something. Yeah, it's like literally when you give them a bit of resistance and just the way they just get through it smoothly, I'm like, oh, I bet you're fucking good, man.
Yep.
I bet you do pretty well at work, right? Like, that was smooth, bro.
Yeah.
I'll give them kudos.
I give him your card.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
like, mate, call this
my
dude.
mate Dave.
Yeah.
He'll hire you.
Yeah. He'll put you on the books, mate. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so it's true, hey. Like, it's one of those things where it is a dance because some people are just super sharp, but also, too, they're super guarded because they don't want to be sold to. And there's different personality types with that. I find there's dominant personality types and there's kind of like influential type people that are more about what everyone else is doing and worried about, you know, what everyone thinks of them and stuff like that. There's all different types of person. We call it a DISC principle, right? Where you kind of know who you're dealing with. Are they conscientious? Are they the type of like overthinker and all these type of people? And you got to know how to really deal with all of these kind of like primary sets of individuals as well and how they play, right? Like you said, the dance, like, you know what I mean? Like you need to know how to dance with these people. And sometimes like you can't really get caught, get any kind of rapport out of someone if they're like a dominant individual. They want to get to the point super quick. Look, I know what's going on, mate. Just show me this and blah, blah, blah. And they're really trying to like get to the point because they're afraid that you're going to like try to bang on and make it a sales pitch. You know, like, man, I don't want to know all that shit. Just show me how it works. And I'm like, oh, I almost get relieved. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, thank God. I feel like you're my type of guy.
All right.
Yeah, you want to get straight to the point. Cool. Have you looked at a couple other companies as well? So you've done a few of these already?
Yep.
And I start to qualify what they know now.
Right.
Right? Because I'm like, oh, you know something. You've seen this. You want to get to the point. I love that. But tell me why. Like, what do you know? Like, you know, okay, cool. That's great, man. No stress, man. Well, I'll get straight to it. Now, I know you don't want to build rapport with me, and I won't be able to build rapport with you until the pressure's off. Where there's some kind of commitment or some kind of like, okay, cool. Does that make sense? And they're like, yeah, no, that looks really good. That's the part where I go, cool, man. And what sort of brings you to this point, mate? Like, when did you start that company? You know what I mean? That's like a crazy idea. Like, how did you come up with that? Right? So I might have to move the rapport part down to the end of the presentation because I'm dealing with someone who's super dominant. They're really smart. They know what they're doing, but I also want to qualify what they know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'll go with you, bro. I love where you're at. Like, this is going to be a good, solid, quick conversation. I appreciate that, and that's how I roll. You're my type of guy. Let's go through this, da-da-da-da. Have you done one of these before? Have you sat in any of these? And often, if you nail it, they generally go, yeah, I have. I've sat through about 3 of these with different companies. What's the main reason why you haven't gone ahead with one of them yet? Right? I want to know. Tell me. You know what I mean? And that's where I start to bring the conversation. What didn't they have that you were looking for? Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the main thing? Because maybe I'm just in the same position as they are, and I want to find that out pretty quickly, right? I want to qualify you. I want to get this resistance out and find out whether or not I can overcome it. And they might say something really key. Like, I didn't go ahead with them because of this, and that. And I go, oh, I get it. Now I know the type of company that you're talking to. Yeah, we're a little bit different that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not just saying that. Our product's a little bit different in the way we shape it like that. And like you said, it does leave some of the clients behind, like you mentioned. Let me show you how this next part works and how we differ from them. So my pitch now is different because I kind of know what you need to know to make a decision now. It actually will direct now my presentation. I can kind of leave out some of the other stuff I don't really need to tell you because you kind of know a little bit about it. And I'm just going to go, boom, straight for the jugular, right? They go, does that make sense how that is different from the other Yeah? And they go, yeah, no, I get it. No, this is actually really good.
Move forward past that.
Right. Now I've got a sort of a level of, I guess, rapport, or not even rapport, like I've got some buying signs from you, right?
Yep.
Like, you're like, oh, okay, that does make sense, right? I'm like, cool, we're back on track. Now I might be able to build a bit of rapport.
Yeah.
I've earned the respect, or I've earned now I feel like I can get in there now, right? And I think it's also too, some people think, oh, he's just building rapport because he wants to sell someone. I'm like, no, it's like, it's so I feel confident, right, to close this deal down and know that you're going to get what you want out of it and you're not going to become a terrible client. Like, there's nothing worse than having salespeople that can close deals and then they come through, they know nothing, and then they've got all these expectations and stuff like that which don't even align with the product, and they're just not a really great customer and they're just a pain in the ass to work with. in any type of business, right? The salesperson's trying to get the sale, but they haven't aligned with the customer with what the actual product is, and there's this kind of like miscommunication there. That's really bad sales. It's low quality. Oh, that's what we call it anyway. And to be honest, that rapport gives me enough room to kind of ask those tricky questions and kind of get all of that out. If I don't have that comfort with you and it's really short, sharp, and you're in control of the conversation or whatever, I'm just not really going to be able to ever really get to that place where I can really find out what type of client you're going to be and whether or not there's any problems I can kind of work out on the front end. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't want you coming through as a client that's expecting this and we're going to give you that. Because like, yeah, it's a sale, we take your money for a bit, but how long is that customer going to stick around?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They end up just becoming a pain in the ass. You know what I mean? So yeah, sales is an interesting dance. Very interesting dance. And there's a big difference between quality customers and customers that are sold, but they're not really good. They haven't been onboarded correctly or brought in the right way.
They haven't bought.
100%. They haven't bought. They've been sold to with an idea in their head. Rapport, I feel like, is the part where you kind of can get all of that out. So yeah, it's important to the sales process.
You train up and coming managers.
Yes.
So, and duplication, is that a part of the ethos for the companies? Like, do you try to instill that? Like, let's duplicate. Let's get our guys that we train to train and
100%. Like, I mean, that's a part of scalability, right? There's no point having 2 or 3 people in a group of 500 people. Imagine if you had 4 people that had all of the intellectual property, and they were the only ones that knew how to do it. That's not how it works. The guys that really, they want people to have like all of the information, right, to help them scale their business quickly. So if you're an aggressive company that's scaling the size, you want lots of different people to have the information. You want lots of people to know to do what you can do. Like if I can train 1 person or 2 people at a time, well, if I've got 4 guys who can train 2 people at a time, then, you know, we grow by 10, right? Or, you know what I mean? We might only grow by 2, and that could take us 12 months to scale, you know, up a certain amount. So it's all about scalability with, like the company that I'm working with specifically. I mean, they want to be in, you know, 3 different countries by the end of the next year. They want to scale their operations up to close to 1,000, like double over the next sort of like, you know, 16 to 18 months. And I'm like, wow, it's the strength of your sales systems, the IP, and all of that kind of stuff. And your trainers need to be on point to really bring people through and make sure that there's no dip in quality, right? So that's really what I'm there to do as a consultant, was to, let's have a look at what you're training guys, how you're training guys. Let's look at your sales systems. Let's tweak that a little bit. Now let's look at the training program, see how good this quality comes through. And then let's just go up the chain a little bit to sort of some of the, you know, the guys that have been around for a long time that are kind of running different things and stuff like that, and sell them what's going on and get them really involved in it, right? Because if the upper management aren't talking about the systems that the guys are being trained and stuff like that. So it's been a process of essentially rejigging some systems that were already really good, but they were just a bit outdated. You know what I mean? Refining them, streamlining them, and then getting the training staff to really understand the intricacies. Because what I find in a lot of sales businesses and a lot of companies is that, like we were saying about before, especially in sales companies and stuff like that, big sales teams and things like that, you find that there's always this kind of like one person who's really good.
Yeah.
And there's kind of like always like 4 or 5 or 6 people that are kind of like okay, but they feed off the energy of that one person, and they get a lot of confidence when they're with that person. But then when that one person gets taken out, they all start doing badly. So it's almost like this kind of like this confidence comes from this person who's crushing it and doing well, and they see them doing well. So everyone kind of has this kind of like almost like manufactured confidence.
Yeah.
But then when they leave and they're away, and then, or they've gone to a different department or whatever, and you have that core group left over here, you watch their performance dip, because a lot of the time they don't know how to fill the room and have that confidence themselves, because they really don't understand what they're really doing, and that person did.
Yeah.
So they became almost like the cultural leader of that crew. And when they take that out, they kind of like fold down a little bit and do really badly. You know, oh, how do we help these guys? And when you go in there, you find out actually their knowledge wasn't that great.
Okay.
It was all with one person, and they were just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like kind of going with the flow. So that was hard to distribute the information from the core guys that are doing really well and go, hey, let's deliver this in stages to everyone.
Yes.
And monitor it and you know, have checkpoints in there where you can really help them and have your finger on the pulse as to what they're actually working on.
Yep.
And that was a big thing, right? It was like, how do we tap into these guys early and give them the IP, the knowledge on how to kind of improve themselves in a way and understand the systems and stuff like that. So that's a big part of it too, right? Is building independence in your sales force.
Yep. Through systems.
Through systems, yeah. Training the systems, giving an understanding as to why they're learning it,
Yep.
how it's used. I think a lot of people go, hey, here's the script, do this, in a lot of businesses, and they kind of go, oh, okay, cool, and they do well. Everyone does well with customers that don't really give a lot of resistance.
Yep.
And everyone sort of tends to gauge their sales prowess on that. If I get a customer in and, you know, he's the right type of customer and that's the kind of guy I'm looking for and stuff like that, I'm awesome with him, right? I can sign him up straight away. I'm like, and I don't want to sound harsh, but I'm like, anyone can sign him up. Right? They come in red hot. Oh, he was a good lead, yeah. So when I get good leads, you know, I hear this, you know, amongst salespeople, and I'm like, oh man, like sales is done in resistance. That's where sales is. Sales is, look, the reason why I'm not buying this is because of this, and you can overcome it. That's sales. Sales is like just sitting there and running someone through the product who's really super keen on it and has been brought in, you know, red hot and they're ready to go. And like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like anyone can sell that person. Do you know what I mean? Because they want it. You know, they're a green light customer. You know what I mean? Like salespeople thrive with orange light customers. People are sitting on the fence or there's something stopping them. Like they can deal with difficult customers. They're a little bit, dominant and abrasive, and they can disarm them and get to the cause, like get to the real reason why they're not going ahead or if they've got a limiting belief. And that's where salespeople operate.
Where do you think and this, I get it, it's going to be different for every company, but where is there like a percentage where you have an interested person, prospect come in, and what percentage of those you should be closing?
Oh, look, if you get a green light customer, it's, close rates are huge.
But like, is there a 10%, 30%? Like, is there a health
close ratio?
Yeah.
On a green light customer, someone who's coming in and go, oh yeah, look, it's so funny. I was just talking about this the other night. We needed this. It's
not green light. So just say customers in general. You've got 10 customers that come through your door. Like, is there a healthy number you should be closing out of those 10? Or is it just different for everyone?
It's just different for every type of, and depends on the journey on the way in with the lead. And is it a cold lead? You know what I mean? Is it, have they come through digital? Have you got someone knocking doors to find the lead? And it's really hard. But look, there's no hard and fast rule. But I would say that out of every person that considers a product, you know what I mean? Like a 1 in 5 close rate from someone who's interested without any kind of like real prior, like this is like cold, right? You knocked on someone's door, you talk to them, they hear you out. Like converting 1 in 5 people in a cold environment.
That's great.
That's elite, right? It's good.
It's amazing.
It's good, right? So 1 in 5, that's usually where the industry markers are in a cold environment.
Right.
If this is a person that's expressed interest in the product and left their details online and you're ringing these leads and stuff like that, man, that changes as well. Depends on how good the digital stuff is on the front end, how much information they get, blah, 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 blah. Like an unaware client, it's hard. You know what I mean? It's hard to say.
I think I heard, like say it was something along the lines, I'm paraphrasing it, but it was along the lines of, and look, I think it was, if you're winning more than say 4 out of 10 deals, you're not charging enough.
4 out of 10 deals. Yeah.
So if you're closing 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, it's like charge more.
The sales guy should charge more.
The business, the company.
Yeah.
So it was something along the lines of that.
That's a great product, right? Yeah. That like a rule like that, like a general rule. I mean, like
Or it means, or you're not charging
property,
enough.
finance, all different types of like kind of face-to-face appointment style settings. If you're sitting down with someone and you're hovering around a 50% close rate, you're doing great.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of like the benchmark for a lot of businesses. Like, oh, mate, if you can get a 1-in-2 ratio out of appointments, you're doing a great job. Because, the consistency there and that kind of close rate, 1 and 2 is amazing, right? Imagine being able to do that in like a property sit or whatever. That's incredible, right? But then, even finance and stuff like that, it means that you're kind of weeding out some people that aren't going to be, they're not really into it. But most people are like, whoa, I want that. And, these people are often that are getting like 1 and 2 close rates. I don't want to go too much into this, 1 and 2 and all this kind of stuff, but because it's different for everyone. But I just kind of feel like they're probably actually letting a couple of people down. Yeah. I feel like I did that a fair bit.
What do you mean?
Well, they're just kind of like, hey, man, I really just don't think that this product's really what you're looking for. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes... So people say always be closing, and I hear this a lot and stuff like that. But if I just feel like it's not going the right place, and they're not going to be a great customer, it's not really going to work out from they're going to cancel or whatever, I'll just tell them. Yeah. So listen, man, this doesn't really look like it's a good fit for what you're looking for right now. Yeah. You'll be amazed at how many people fight to get the deal when I do that. Because I'm like, what do you mean? I said, just like what you said there and what you said there is you kind of like, you're still in the phase where you're really you're in discovery phase, and it just doesn't sound like you're just ready to pull the trigger just yet. So I'm glad we caught up, and I'm going to go through some information with you. But I just sort of feel that you're probably just not quite ready. No, mate. I'm really, and they start to fight for it. Yeah. They're some of my best closers, right? Because I'm like, so yeah. Yeah, I'm always closing people if it's going the wrong way and it kind of there's all this evidence stacking up that they and they don't want to do it. Then I'll just tell them sometimes, maybe it's not the right time for you. And then they start to fight back, and then they kind of almost sell themselves. And
if they don't, you haven't built enough rapport, or you haven't given them enough information. Yeah, it's a good little test, hey.
Yeah, it's almost like a trial close, but I'm okay to let go of it sometimes. If someone's over skeptical, like they think that I'll just. Boom, that's okay, man. It doesn't sound like it's the right time. Yeah, yeah. And then, it's interesting.
Crazy. Yeah. What's the first thing you do, bro, when you come into like an organisation that, is like, look, we need help with sales. It's what's the first thing you do?
Yeah, okay. So if someone calls up and goes, hey, we need a consultant to come out and have a look at our company and stuff like that, first of all, I become the customer. I want to buy your product. Yep. I said, okay, so I'm going to get online, I'm going to put on my credit card, I'm going to buy your product. Now, this is a big ticket item.
Right, I'll invoice you later.
Right? Yeah. You're going to call me off, right?
It's a cooling off period. Yeah, that's right.
Right, okay, cool. But like generally speaking, I want to go through the customer journey. Yeah. And it's so funny. I work with one company, great people, awesome product, legends, like great vision and just awesome product. And I jumped online and said, hey, I'm really interested in your product. I want to find out more. I'd love to hear some more information. It took 6 days to get a response back. Hey, how you going? Thanks for your inquiry. I'd even forgotten that I'd sent it. I'm like, that's right. Oh, shit. Like, I was like, whoa. Yeah. Like, I've been reading statistics from the US and I've got a lot involved in that kind of stuff where I was looking at real statistics across larger industries and stuff like that. And if you haven't responded to someone's email inquiry within 7 minutes, that your likelihood of them engaging with you further drops by something like 90%. 7 minutes.
Yeah, it's significant.
They took 6 days to get back to me. And I'm like, oh my God. Imagine how many people that were like, hey, I really want your product. I want to find out more. I'm sitting there looking at your product, looking at it. You look great. Your company's great. All your marketing's worked. Yeah. Yeah, so speed to lead. Yeah. Yeah, and contact, super important on the front. So I look at the process, right? I become the customer. So I just went back to him. I said, hey, man, you're spending all this money on digital advertising. You're doing a really fantastic job. Your website looks great. I went online. I looked at all this kind of stuff. I didn't talk to anyone, even get an inquiry back till 6 days. And then I went down the journey after that. And I'm like, hey, how you going? Yep, look, this looks really great. Thanks for getting back to me. I'd like to book a chat with someone on your team to maybe discuss whether or not we can go ahead with what you're doing. Okay, great. And they sent me a calendar. Okay, thanks, great. Boom, automated email, pick a spot, da-da-da. No real kind of, it wasn't a person I could tell. Yeah. Right? I was like, oh, this is the part where just a real slick, great approach over the phone, or just a reach out by one of the team members. It's like, hey man, we showed you showed a little bit of interest there. That's fantastic. You're requesting a time. What's the best day for you in the next day or two? Can I book in for today or tomorrow? What's worked? And morning or afternoon, like locking in that sale on the front, it's so critical, right? Just the speed to get them to contact team or see your product. That's huge. That's massive. And then I can pick up that pretty quickly. And that's a lot of dysfunctional stuff in people's sales line or pipeline or whatever. They spend a fortune on digital advertising and stuff like that. Sometimes they go, we can't figure out why we're not converting leads. I go, man, can I tell you why?
Yeah, that is huge.
It took 6 days for you to get back to me.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the first stage, is like become the customer, audit the process, right? And see what the journey's like to the customer, pretending like I just know nothing about them.
Yeah.
And like, if I'm unaware as a client, and and okay, what were the points where I felt like they were kind of like double handled, inefficient, gave me information. There was a bit of a job. Oh, okay, I'll get Matthew to call you back. I spoke to 3 different people before I even got a chance to like buy the product, or just little things like that. And the process is that's the first part.
What do you think's changing? I've never actually thought about it from a point of view of a sales, like face-to-face salesperson. All right, I'm working in the marketing space with Bleo. We've always, and what we've noticed, right, over the last, say, 5 years even, people being comfortable with transacting online via e-commerce. Right? So you can buy a Tesla online now, or a BMW, right? Tesla, I think, was the first, but you can buy a $150,000 car now with your credit card, right? You can put a deposit down, you can choose your color, boom, you can order. But I remember
that's great branding.
But I remember, it is, right? People being comfortable, there's credibility. I remember people weren't comfortable even putting a credit card online for any transaction, let alone, and that wasn't. Like maybe that's going back to 8 years ago or so.
Yeah.
But so what used to happen, right, is you used to have, for these big ticket items, you had to have a salesperson come and intervene, build rapport, do a sales process, help them over the line and close them. Is the psychology changing now of, sitting in front of someone? Like what has changed in that period of time now, what do people expect now?
It's a really good question. Like, I think that strength of the brand and the trust in the brand is like one massive thing, which is no easy feat. Okay. That takes years of branding and public relations. You know what I mean? Like to get that Tesla brand out. People know
you can fucking bang up a website now, and so they're sharp, right?
Yeah. If I'm going to buy a brand new car, I don't really need to talk to a guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I can kind of do a bit of research online, have a look what's out there, read some reviews and stuff like that. I might ring the dealership and go, hey man, do you have any in silver?
Yeah.
Is there some extras I can chuck on? They go, oh wow, what are you interested in? I'm interested in this car. Right. So is that sales? No, it's not, right? Yeah. Like, I believe that the brand and these existing brands and the trust and all the digital footprints and all of that kind of stuff is like, that has really taken over a lot of that kind of stuff. But what if you're a company that has an offering where there's some kind of onboarding process, or qualification process, or sure, digital can take that, but what if it's a trust thing? You know what I mean? What if it's like, I'm trying to find, a consultant to handle some kind of tricky stuff in my life, or if it's someone that's going to be coming to your home, or, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like for me, it's like, if they're really well known, it's in a thing that you can click and buy, and it's in a really aware market.
Yeah.
Sure. We are like super efficient at buying stuff. There's markers in place where you can kind of, have a little bit of security and stuff like that using, credit system, PayPals, like whatever. There's all of that kind of stuff, and that helps us purchase things faster with big, well-known brands and stuff, for sure. That's replaced a lot of the sales system, the old school, ring up Barrel and find out if they've got any cars.
Bloody Barrel.
Which one's this Barrel? You know what I mean? So sure, that's certainly changed. However, if you've got a product that's new to market, it's a very unaware market, a new market, emerging market or whatever. And not many people know or are very educated on what this is, but it's solving a big problem. Digital can really communicate that with someone. That's like retargeting marketing, sure, right? But at some point, you need a human to secure or overcome this kind of like gap between what digital can really give to them and like, hey, this is a high-end, you know, like client or product. People are going to have some questions that can't be answered. And, you know, people put up frequently asked questions online and stuff like that with really well-known products. And, oh, okay, cool, that sort of satisfies what I was looking at. But things that are really like new to market or in unaware markets, you really need some kind of explanation. It needs to be tailored. Can AI take that over? Can in the future, can that be changed, taken over? I don't think so. I personally don't think so. I prefer the human touch. I want to ask you some questions and I want to look in your eyes and know that I can trust you when you answer me, right? There's a little bit of that going on.
Do you get, I missed this, but like, do you get people sit in front of you guys or with you like on ChatGPT or just in their phones, like while you're talking and just being research and shit? Like, does the phone come into the conversation in a sales pitch in these days?
Sometimes. Yeah, that's cool. You can do whatever you can.
But you haven't earned their respect or built the rapport, obviously, if they're doing that.
Yeah, I think that it's probably like some people that are really like maybe like a little bit like they don't like customer contact or even uncomfortable with being in a situation where they're talking to another human being, right? We get some people like that are really like, oh, I'm just going to verify everything you're saying and stuff like that. That's okay. I don't mind that. Because I'm not going to talk shit to anyone, right? Like, I'm not going to say anything that you can't verify or whatever for a start. If I don't know, I don't know. I don't want to get into a situation about a product where I don't know something on it, because that would be a little bit embarrassing if I'm trying to sell you something I don't even understand myself. But yeah, I don't mind that. You can verify all that kind of stuff. And I will use a lot of mucking around or joking with that. I'm like, cool, how'd I go? Did I nail that? You know, and they go, oh no, sorry, check. I'm actually having a look at the brochure right now. And I'll try to engage with the phone.
Just throwing a 20 on the dogs.
Yeah. Just putting some bets on for tonight's footy games and stuff like that. You go, oh mate, who are we on? Any red hot tips, right? Yeah. So like that's where I kind of sometimes when I get tricky conversations like that, or it's a little bit awkward, that's where I'll kind of use a little bit of humour.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In a one-on-one sit and stuff like that, that's where I'll kind of like crack into a little bit like, oh, how'd I go, mate? Did that all check out? Or I hope I'm doing a good job. And oh, sorry, mate. Yeah, you know what I mean. And there's ways to kind of bring them out of that behaviour a little bit and kind of engage with me. I often use line of questioning to try to bring people back in. Yeah. If they are kind of slipping away or if they're losing their attention span or whatever, I generally use line of questioning where I kind of interrupt what's happening to go, hey man, does that make sense to you? Like, I mean, what, you know what I mean? And then I'll start to try to regain control of the pitch or whatever if it gets off track and bring them back in. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I guess for me, like, and this is really difficult, right? Because you've got some really great salespeople out there. You've actually got some unbelievable people out there. I guess for me, like, sales for me is just one of these things that there's a certain process and a structure to it, so it is repeatable. And there's certain skill sets that salespeople possess that you can't teach to AI. Yeah. Which separates them. Like, if you had AI and you just had a product that was that kind of like, you know, that good and that branded and all that kind, and everyone was so aware of it, then you don't need a human being. Yeah. Where do you need a human being? Which was used to be customer service, which is like, hey, my thing's broken. Yeah. You know, I go, cool. Did you chuck it on the ground? You know what I mean? So customer service became the thing where you kind of needed people, and even that's being outsourced now. Yeah. And, you know,
it's empathy, bro. ChatGPT AI can't have empathy. Like, I can't sit with someone, listen to them, and feel what they're feeling, and just go, "Fuck, I know exactly how you feel, mate." Yeah. And it's important. I sometimes find it difficult to communicate with AI. Yeah. Like, when I want to get something, I'm like, oh, like, I could tell a person what I want, but even just explain to AI, it's like, it's even weird. It's not going to know what I'm talking about. Yeah. How weird's that? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's okay. I like AI and where it's going with and stuff like that. I like in medical fields and stuff like that, AI and what they can, the potential for what they can do with that. When it really connects to the consumer market of robotics, that's when the game's going to change. Hey,
100%.
It's because it's in the information age now. Right, so when you really look at it, everyone thought that AI and technology was going to affect that blue collar market, but it's not there yet because it's not in robotics. So it's affected the white collar, the information, the doctors, the lawyers, anyone that was working with information. and it's just making these crazy advancements. And as soon as like they connect it to that, like that's going to be,
It's going to be wild.
it's going to be wild.
And a lot of people talk about that. It's like it's going to take over jobs and stuff. Like I think that the IP will shift with the few. So let's say you got a sales force of 100 people right now. The introduction of AI and like supercomputers and quantum computing, all that kind of stuff, it'll just mean that there's less boots on the ground, and the IP will stay still with the people that really understand and know sales. So it might eliminate certain parts of the workforce, and like as we've seen with chatbots and different things and branding and digital, yeah, look, it's taken a lot of these traditional roles out, but then they've shifted them into different roles.
Yeah.
So you kind of like, I don't see sales going anywhere. What I feel like is that the field will get thinned out a bit more, and the same skills will be required, but some of the heavy lifting will be getting done by technology, like it still does, like generating leads and stuff like that. But AI will just become smarter and learn where to put things, and you know what I mean? And I see that evolving like that. But I don't know, man. I don't think I ever want to buy a house off of AI.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could buy a car off AI. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, whatever, or, you know, like order some food, or, yeah, okay, cool. There's certain things, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
But there's other things that I'm like, no.
Have you heard, there's like all this talk now about like there's an emerging community that is like is refuting AI, but to the point where not refuting, it's more like they're seeking like to go and live in the outback and like to have human interaction, like, you know, to talk to the person behind the cafe and really have that experience. But they're saying like that's going to be a big thing. Like it's going to be this booming, you know, this booming industry of just like, fuck, we just
the old way.
We just want, just the old way. Turn it raw.
Everything goes in waves, eh? Yeah. Like everything goes in waves. Like it's so funny, like, you know, when you're watching different industries and stuff like that, where everything started to shift to digital, and then people started going, well, wait a minute, you know, we've lost the quality of sale and the connection with our clients. And so everything sort of happens in waves. Like you try something out, it's really good, we might keep that aspect of it or whatever, but there's always going to be all different types of people out there. I think that sales is always going to be a thing, like communication, negotiation skills, and all of that kind of stuff is going to be, it's great in so many different parts of life. Like people think about sales, everyone thinks about sales differently. With me, I just see sales as people that are actually really good at communicating with people. They can deal with resistance, they can communicate, they can do all of these kind of like little things that they're just a good person to interact with. You know what I mean? Like sales for me is like, it's not this mega superpower that everyone can't learn. But working in the sales industry, because it's a performance industry, that's where it starts to separate, where there's most normies wouldn't enjoy doing it as a job because they don't know how to operate with high performance consistently. And you know what I mean? And create that kind of like consistency and performance and put themselves, you know what I mean? Like it's actually, that's what separates people. So yeah, it's interesting, right? Like it's like, I don't think that sales is really like this crazy elite skill. It's just literally repetition, certain sets of skills that
problem
you get good
solution, good communication.
Yeah, 100%.
People like, that just want to help.
Rapport is a skill.
Yeah.
You learn it, you practice it, you get better at it. Sometimes you pie it, it's not very good, or you got to shift it down, and you learn to, you know, move with it. Dealing with resistance, like all different kinds of these different skills, like impulsing people, using influences and different things like objection handling, like closing techniques. You know what I mean? Like everyone knows how to close until they start to show you resistance, and then you got to use a different close, right? You use a trial close, or you got to use an alternative close, or an assumptive close, because they're indecisive and they don't really make a decision, and you want to move them down a little bit. I want to know how to use, so I'm going to assume that you have going ahead. You know what I mean? So there's lots of different things, right?
Yeah.
So I don't see it going anywhere.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Could you teach AI that? I don't know. Maybe.
Do you think so the performance part of a sale, a big part of that could be urgency, right? So, because I know for me, when I go and buy something, my thing is like, how much do you know about the product
Yeah.
And if you don't answer all my questions, I don't care fucking what
Yeah.
song and dance you do for me, mate. I was
Sure.
like, answer all my questions.
Yep.
But even then, I don't know if I would ever buy something then and there. But do you think that everyone can be sold in that moment, then and there? Do you know what I'm trying to say there?
Oh, not really. Do you mean that, like, is that the difference between AI and maybe?
No. So off AI, it's more like around urgency now. Like,
Yep,
so from
right.
a performance part of a salesperson, like, can everyone be sold in that moment? Or are there just people that
maybe.
need to think about it and stay in contact with them, come back?
Yeah, yeah. Like, no, I don't believe that everyone can be sold. Like, depends on the way in and the product and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if someone's looking for your product and you can't sell them 100% of the time, then, there's probably something wrong there somewhere.
Yeah.
But no, if you've got someone who's considering your product or, they're a lead and you're trying to feel out whether the product's right for them and, all of that kind of stuff, depending on the type of product, like, no, I don't believe that everyone can be sold. I believe that not everyone's ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you can either open someone's mind to the product or you can close it. Really, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll close it for people. We go, hey, listen, this isn't really what you're actually looking for is something a little bit differently shaped than what we're doing here. Right? It doesn't fit what you're looking for. And I'm quite happy to close the client's mind down and go, this isn't the product probably that what you're looking for is something slightly different.
Yeah.
They go, oh, okay, thank you so much, right? No problems, right?
Yeah.
Opening the client's mind is actually probably a little bit more harder.
Yes.
Because there's certain things that stop people. But no, I definitely think that a lot of people need certain things to have their mind opened by something. Like, I always think that when you're speaking with someone with urgency and confidence, like assuredness, you're indifferent. I don't mind where this goes, but I'm here to show you, and you've got confidence and different, and a little bit of urgency to it.
Yeah.
Most people are in a state of mind where they're ready to kind of make a decision by the end of your presentation, yes or no. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
I think I'm on the right track.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think everyone can be sold.
Yeah.
Based on the products that I've seen, because it's not always suitable for everyone. But if someone is able to be sold, you should have a very strong, close rate. There shouldn't be too much stopping you. If there is something where you got to go outside of where you are to find something out to refine an offering or something like that, or sometimes you go into companies and there's too many touch points before they actually get signed up or closed and they become a client. Like you say, oh, you got to do this, and then you got to send this, fill this form out, and you got to do that form, and I'm like, man, there's like 3 or 4 touches before this person comes a client. You can lose people in the process of the sale. Like a lot of the times, if your sales process is too clunky on the back end, you want the least amount of resistance possible once someone makes a decision to go ahead, where it's like you want it to happen really quite quickly and move ahead. Because you're like, hey, they've said yes. They've said yes to your product. It's the ultimate result, right? Yeah, yes, okay, they're aligned with your product. They want it, and it's all happy days and stuff like that. But if I have to spend the next 3 months signing up to something and then fill this out and give you all my details, and then you got to do a visit here and you got to do it, like so many people cool off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sorry, bro. Let me fucking sort this out. Let's just have a little intermission.
Yeah. Checking. He texted me. Is there any water in that?
I think so.
Just tip it over your switchboard.
How you feeling, bro?
Yeah, good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Leonie's dad's going back tomorrow.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
So hanging out tonight, going to get some dinner.
Okay.
Yeah, good. That was me at the exact same time. book another trip to Perth.
You are?
Going to the next week with the team over there, running a topic at their big awards event and stuff like that. Spending some time in the office training up some of the newer managers and stuff like that, so that'd be good.
You're over there a bit, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, they were smaller crew that's gone into now. They're really killing it. Yeah, right. So they're doing really good. Manager over there's cranking, everything's up and running. So yeah, just going over there and doing some tweaks and stuff for the new sort of management group, and yeah, they're flying now. So
you must love, bro. Must be rewarding building people.
Yeah, man, it's kind of like my thing, right? Like I like to go into a place where I like going into a business and going, wow, what a cool idea.
Yeah.
And seeing like kind of like a business for what it is and go, oh, that's cool. I see why you come up with that business idea and get to know the people and stuff like that. But what I really love is helping people kind of organise their sales process a little bit. Often they don't need a lot of tweaking. They just need a few changes, and often it's just like they just don't have one person onto that.
Yeah,
there's too many people touching certain things, and things get kind of, you know what I mean? Like there's not enough continuity. But when you actually build someone from and you watch someone that's been doing the sales for like maybe 6 months for a company that's hasn't put a lot of focus on it, and you build that person. And they start to become really successful at sales and all their figures change. You watch them you watch their whole demeanour change, their confidence, the way they carry themselves. Because they're like, yeah, I fucking did that. Like, I love that shit. Like, I love going into a business, coaching and training that person. That's probably a lot of pressure's been on them because they're not really converting. And then all of a sudden they're the hero. Like, that's what I love. I love walking away and going, yeah, and then that confidence for them, of them to go, yeah, I'm the man now, or I'm the woman here, Like that is a buzz, you know what I mean? To really change someone's perspective on sales, help them get successful, and they're the one bringing home the bacon for the business now, where before they were the one that was kind of like, maybe we need to get rid of this person. They're not really working out well. There's a few problems here. And are they the problem? Like, and you go, well, sometimes it is the person, like they're not invested, they're too far gone or whatever, or like they're jaded or whatever. Sometimes they're just like really keen to learn, but they've got no training.
Yeah.
And they're in this environment where they've got to produce and they just literally don't know what they're doing. Like they know the product, know the product well, and they're just making errors, simple things in conversations and just real fundamental basic errors. And then when you clean them up and they get confident, wow, that's really changing my results. And you show them like, hey man, when I walked in here, this was your KPIs. And then like I leave today and look at your KPIs. Like, look at that. And then they go, oh, wow. I felt like I was getting better, but I'm like, man, you have like tripled your output. It's incredible, right? I love seeing that. So yeah, that is my thing. I love taking people from good to great.
Yeah.
I love enabling people to be really good in this industry, and it just brings people a lot of pride because it's a fun job. Like sales is great when you're performing. When you suck at it, it's the worst job ever because everyone hates you because you're not bringing in sales. Everyone behind you is like, hey man, when are you going to bring in some sales? Like it's a job where it sucks to suck at it.
Yeah.
Right? If you're good at it, it's actually one of the best jobs ever because you're like, you're banking checks. Do you know what I mean? You're breaking necks. You know what I mean? Like you're bringing it home and going, yeah, no, I've got it covered. Like it's good. Like I'll bring in this and then you win another customer. It's a great feeling.
It is.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like I think it's a great position, a great role, and I just think there's not a lot of people out there that really know what they're doing, and I see it. Like this is one of the main things that I notice in sales and with companies is they're trying to hire salespeople, and salespeople a lot of times aren't cheap. They hire salespeople, and for that money in their head, they're like, shit, I will need to see this, this, and this, and this. And they tend to not communicate that, or they communicate it in the wrong way. But the owner or the person that's running the company does not know how to shape that.
Yep.
They don't know how to kind of get that person working. They're expecting them to solve their problem.
Yep.
Hey, I'm hiring you to come and teach me or teach my company how to sell stuff. And it's like, no, you've hired a salesperson who, if they've got an environment and a system with inside of that, they're a high performer and they can deliver. That's what a really good salesperson can kind of do. But if there's nothing there, that's a different type of person you need.
Do you find most good salespeople are not, what shall I say, good process or systems people?
Yeah, like the people that gravitate towards sales usually are people that like probably weren't amazing in school, but they were like the class clown. They were funny. People like them. They're charismatic. They love talking to people, but they don't like sitting down, writing notes, taking notes, or whatever. That is changing.
Okay.
Right? So a lot of the company that I'm working with, I see a lot of people coming through that have got really great note-taking skills and stuff like that. But you can see the real kinesthetic learners and people like that are really great at sales and really dynamic, but they find it difficult to consume information, record, access later. So you just got to hit them a little bit different, right? They actually can be really high level at retaining knowledge as long as you're training them correctly and in a certain way where they can retain knowledge. With those guys, I give them handouts. Like I literally ran a meeting 2 days ago, and it was a Rising Star event or what we call Beyond the Pitch, where it was a group of salespeople doing a really great job that are going to kind of the next level in their career. They might end up being sales trainers and stuff like that soon. And this is kind of like that little marker in the beginning of their career where they get kind of exposed to different kind of training and stuff like that. And I just noticed 4 people in the room that were just taking shit notes. And like but they were into every word that this person was saying. And I'm like, that was me. You know what I mean? I could hear things and articulate things and practice it. I could do all of that there. But so I went and just copied my notes and just went up to him and go, here you go, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this will help you. If you read that as you go along and scribble notes along there, that'll actually help you later. Oh, thanks so much. Like, I'm terrible at taking notes. I can see you've got like 2 lines on the page, right? And you've got a couple of doodles and you know what I mean? Like they're, you know, it's like, it's okay, man. It's all good. You know, you could be one of the best guys in the room at sales. It doesn't matter if you can take notes on it, right? But they tend to get a little bit lost when they start to coach and train people. They could be dynamic salespeople, amazing, like really smart and pick things up really quick. You hang out with them for one day and they're talking like you are. They're just, you know, you're like, whoa, you picked that up fast, man. You know, but then when they train people, they get frustrated because they can't, because most people that come in aren't like them, right? So they get frustrated and go, why isn't this person learning? Why are they picking up what I'm teaching them? Like, because they learn differently. Like you learn by like watching, doing. This person literally needs to understand the framework of it and go, oh, okay, cool, and then go and practice it. Like everyone's got a different way to process it in their mind.
Yeah.
And I find that the really dynamic sales guys that probably aren't great at note taking and stuff like that, yeah, sure, great at sales. It's a little bit more of a difficult journey teaching them how to replicate themselves and manage people because they think everyone thinks like them or learns like them. Yeah. And they don't. Like, you know, everyone's so different, you know, the way they do things. So learning how to identify those as a trainer, you know, looking around the room and kind of getting clues. Oh, okay, cool. I see this dude isn't really picking up stuff or he's not taking notes and you can't, like, but that's a big part of coaching and training and, you know, delivering systems. It's like, oh, no, not like, oh, mate, you got to take notes. It's like, no, I get it. Like, you know, you're not a great note taker, but you're probably, if I show you on the field, like that's why you can't have a sales manager that isn't afraid to get their hands dirty.
Yeah.
You know, having a couch sales manager that can't just like, okay, cool, I'll show you how to make this phone call or let me jump on this call with you or let me do an appointment for you. If you go, no, mate, you just got to say this.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, some of the best salespeople are people that just go, oh, okay, you said that, you did that. Okay, cool, I can do that.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm like, if you can't get your hands dirty, if you can't show someone because they've been so far out of the game and they don't want to do it anymore, I'm just going to show you how to do it. I'm like, whoa.
If you can't, how do you expect to understand, feel, and know the market? Something could change, and you're getting all of this, and you guys are, you know, your front line's just copping it. You need to get in there and be like, actually, what's going on?
Yeah.
How do I fix this? Okay,
100%. Yeah.
Guys, this is how you need to handle that. That's a leader, right?
Armchair managers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, cool. I can. All right. Yeah. It's like.
And then how good is it, bro? You just jump on the phone and you're like, boom, and you make that call and you close that first one. You're just like.
Do you know how many times in my career that I've actually like picked up a phone and literally the first person I speak to buys, and I'm like, they're like, oh my god, wow, okay, yeah, that's how you do it, man. No worries, right? And you walk away and they go, what the fuck? I mean, I just called 50 people and didn't get anywhere, and this guy picks up the phone and makes one phone. And I'm like, I don't even know why that just happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's pretty funny when it does happen. You go, bro, that's not normal. Like you have to try to explain.
Yeah, that's dangerous too, right?
Yeah, because you go, bro, that's not like that's just potluck, mate.
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, have another go, and then you do it again, and then you're like, okay, maybe it is.
Yeah, that's right. You took notes, right?
Do you know what? Do you know what the really funny thing with sales is as well, right? Like we were talking about before, where you have like sense of urgency and confidence in your tonality and stuff like that. You know what I've really discovered lately with a lot of salespeople is that they're really good at taking people through the, things and stuff like that. But what I really notice is that people create this character almost where they kind of like change their pitch of their voice, their tone of their voice changes, like just like this 1 degree.
Yeah.
And it instantly sounds like a sales pitch,
Yeah.
right? And what I find with the majority of salespeople that I coach and train that are kind of like in their first couple of months or whatever, and they're not, they're picking it up, da-da-da. They've just got this little shift in their tonality where it just sounds not like a conversation. It's not genuine. I picked that up so much now. Like I literally just recently bought an off-road caravan, right? I don't want to mention any names in case this person one day sees it. I'll feel bad because she sounded lovely, but she rang up. She was so excited. She said, oh my God, congratulations. Like over the top. And I was like, what's she going to sell me?
Yeah.
Instantly, as soon as I heard her tone of voice, I'm like, okay, what are you going to sell me? I was waiting for it. Congratulations. No. I'm like, okay, yep. Okay, thank you for that. Great. Yep. How can I help you? And then she's like, oh yeah, we get this ceramic coating.
Fucking ceramic coating. What else are they putting that shit on?
And anyway, she was like, her pitch and her tone was just like, I am going to sell you some shit as soon as I heard her voice. And like, because I've been in sales for so long now, I'm just like, that is my pet hate. It's cringe. Like, it's not genuine. But I think in the old days, like that was the thing.
Yeah.
You had news reporters that spoke a certain way and salespeople kind of like, morning, how are you today? How can I help you? Like, I feel like that has shifted. That's changed. Like when I speak to people and it's just like a conversation, like I would rather you be genuine with me. I don't want someone to go, morning. And everyone's like, no, you've got to show all this enthusiasm when you speak to someone. Like, mate, literally some of the best conversations I have with people, I was like, hey, mate, how are you?
Yeah.
It's just like pure conversational tone. Like, what's going on, mate?
Today, bro, coming in here, bro. You had instant impact on everyone that you saw in here today.
That's why I can't work in an office.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, shit.
Too
I
distracting.
could imagine it. I couldn't agree with you more, bro.
Yeah. And then, so that, like, even just tonality of a salesperson, like keeping in that conversational tone and those communication skills are really basic.
Yeah.
Man, they make a massive impact. If someone's not confident, they're like, oh, yeah, good afternoon, or they just have a little gap in the way they say things and they don't sound confident. I just watch them lose so many sales from those real basic things. I'm like, oh, man, listen, everything you said was good.
Yeah.
But it just sounded like it was your first day at school.
Yeah.
You just sounded like you were so nervous and so, you know what I mean? Like, no one's going to take that pitch seriously because it didn't feel like you were in control. You weren't confident. You know what I mean? Like, there was no sense of urgency in your voice and you weren't controlling the tempo of it. Or when you said hi, you went, hi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like your inflections were going up. You go, does it make sense? Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, what are you doing with your voice? So I like getting people to kind of practice enough to kind of just chill out.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And just like, cool, man, just deliver it like you're talking. You walked in today and you go, hey, Davo, how you going?
Yeah.
See that voice? That's what you're pitching today with, right? And then, oh, okay, cool. And even then, when they know they're not meant to do it, they'll even do it.
Yeah.
And that tonal shift. And you're like, oh, why do you get that little squeaky voice when you start pitching someone, right? Like, so yeah, there's a little bit of like, I call it the 4 pillars, which is, it's almost like communication skills, which cannot be overlooked, right? There's kind of like the art of the first impression. So there's communication, first impression, like how to set a tone for when you meet someone. Is it relaxing? Do they trust you instantly? Is there eye contact? What are their confidence, etc. First impression. Negotiation skills, like learning to deal with resistance. Do you know what I mean? Like how to negotiate and deal with someone who's throwing resistance at different levels and stuff like that. And setting the part of the first impression as well is almost how to build rapport, right? So there's like these people. And the fourth one is someone who's goal-orientated, who's a driven individual that has goals with inside of the industry, and you know what I mean? They're a goal setter. I think that's so overlooked. Do you know what I mean? Like I was working with a crew today, and one of the big takeaways with some of this management group that we were talking to was like, when we got to the end of this session, it was called Level Up Training Day. We really just take them through all the basic sales systems and make sure they have a really good understanding of it, because they're getting prepared to train people and make sure they really know what they're talking about and understand the reason for all of these systems and stuff. And it's a really great training session with them. But we go through a little part about being goal driven and being someone that really wants to kind of push themselves forward and be a high performer and learn about goals and attaching your external goals and stuff like that into what you're doing and all that kind of stuff. And the feedback from a lot of the guys at the end was like, I just realised that I'm probably operating at about 60% of my capacity because I don't have goals, right? And I think the speed in which you pick something up in sales and the confidence which you portray, the energy that you portray in a conversation is usually because you've got your mind set on, I want to have 10 great conversations today, right? And you know, they're very driven on the process of it and doing great at the process because they know the result's going to come. So being a driven individual and having a goal and being a goal setter is a massive part of sales. I'm not just going, cool, man, let's just ring 500 leads and see how we go. Do you know what I mean? You're like, okay, let's ring 100 leads and try and convert, you know what I mean? This many leads into presentation. If we've done that, we've done a great job. So being specific and giving people a goal or something to chew into and actually have a crack at, their energy changes.
Right.
And you can't hear it when they're speaking in terms of what they're saying. The content's exactly the same. But there's this different burn or a different energy level from them that just kind of gets people to give them honest answers and people get a little bit more engaged and involved with, you know what I mean? It's like one of those little 1%ers.
Moves towards them. Like, and they they think and act and feel different.
They want to find a way through,
Yeah.
you know, like, oh, okay, cool. Like they deal with resistance differently. And so I think that's a really big part. That's one of the 4 pillars for me is like a goal-orientated person that knows how to like set goals, gets excited about them and wants to crack them, beat them. You know what I mean? It's a bit competitive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, here's the benchmark in the industry. Doesn't mean you can't go and get 70% or whatever for what you do and stuff like that. And they go, yeah, no, I'm gonna lock away the standard and then I'm gonna start to create new standards. You know, I'm like, oh, love to hear that. You know what I mean? And then giving them the skills to kind of get, so that driven individual, that competitive drive, that goal-orientated, goal-setting individual, I think they always become high performers. Yeah, provided you give them the skills and the background to sort of do it. So yeah, I think what makes a really good salesperson, goal-driven, a lot of mentality attributes, dealing with resistance, stuff like that, but also the actual skills that you're teaching them, making them very clear and easy to follow and understand when you're teaching people sales skills. And man, like small things just move large mountains in sales. Like that's what I love about this industry, right? You can go into places where they've been literally doing it away for 10 years. They've kind of gotten used to like really bad numbers, but then all of a sudden the business gets to this point where you go, man, we're spending so much money. We're not, like the money we're spending on clients is outweighing the money that's coming in.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do?
Yeah.
And I go, oh, and I come in and audit the systems and have a look at it, and this person has no training. There's too much, you know.
Throw the fingers around.
I throw a couple of split fingers out there, man. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it just gets to that, and it's like it's actually quite. It's simple because I can look at it almost straight away and go, "Yep, I get it." But the implementation is not easy.
Right.
Right? It's complex and there's personalities involved and stuff like that. So sometimes you got to be. It can be quite complicated.
Yeah.
But sometimes it can be easy because the person's like so keen to learn and wants to get better. And some people can see it as a threat.
Okay.
A company has hired someone to come in and tell me how to do my job I've been doing for 5 years.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're like, oh, shit. Okay. And there's ways to get around that, right? Dealing with resistance that I learned in sales, now dealing with people going into companies where they've been in that position.
I feel like you have a way though of partnering with them, and obviously that'd be a big that's what I've found with you anyhow. Like
It's just sales skills.
it is. It's
Literally, it's the same
recognizing
thing.
that's the first thing you need to do.
Yeah, you just go, shit, this person's going to feel some sort of way about someone coming in and kind of trying to shake things up a little bit. Although that's what the owner wants, like I've got to have a little bit of a powwow with my team.
Yeah,
you know
of
what I
course.
mean? Just let them know, hey, it's all good. I'm here to help you guys get better. You're probably really good at what you're doing. You've got great customer service. You know what I mean? Like great knowledge. I'm just going to here to implement some systems that are going to probably help you get better results.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
You don't get a good
toes, barrel.
Barrel, yeah.
I don't want ceramic coating, by the way. If anyone's got-
Fucking ceramic coating, bro. I just think, like, now, if someone asks me for fucking ceramic coating, I just say no because,
Yeah,
like, I just go, it's probably, you know, it's probably 80% of what they sell you is probably a commission. That's probably where they make their money in a car.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know,
I don't make any money off the car, but ceramic coating, man, we
that's
smoke.
what I think, bro. That's what I would actually love to know that.
It's
if
like
anyone knows.
$3,000 ceramic coating.
That's
Literally, if you did it yourself, it costs you
That's
$280.
your commission. And I'm just like, I don't want it. Nah, I don't. They're like, no, you don't. Ceramic coating, though.
want
It's like,
ceramic coating.
it's a fucking brand new car with a paint job, mate. I don't want ceramic coating,
Yeah,
mate. It's just,
I see the importance of it and all that kind of stuff, and you know, blah blah blah. But yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. But yeah, like if you got a Lamborghini, you got a Lambo, something like that.
you know what?
Chuck a ceramic coating on that. I'm good with that.
You know what? Right. So we had out in the car park, some painter was spray painting the building, right? And got this overspray on a couple of cars, mine being one, business partner being another one. His car had ceramic coating.
Straight off.
My car didn't, and it had to be cut and polished or something. But they couldn't do it to the ceramic coating one.
Oh,
they
wow.
could do it to mine
Damn.
because it didn't have the ceramic coating on it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, hang on a minute, what's ceramic coating for?
We're killing the ceramic
just
coating
bounced
industry
off,
right now. I'm so sorry for anyone who's in sales and ceramic coating.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm so sorry.
No, I want to know.
no.
Tell me.
Yeah.
Like,
I've actually got a friend of mine who's a car detailer and he does ceramic coating. He does some high-end cars and man, they look awesome.
they do look good.
Man, when they're done, they go in there. They look quite shiny.
Why don't cars just have ceramic coating?
I don't know. I think it's something to do with it fills in the little gaps and makes it look way shinier. But the water beads off it, right?
Does it though?
It does.
Or is it just the pitch?
I've had ceramic coating on my car.
Yeah?
Yeah. I put it on myself, right? Because I'm a tight ass. But yeah, no, it does. Like literally when the water hits it, it just runs off. Right. Yeah, so it's good for water.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, it just makes your car shinier. That's all I know.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I want a shiny car.
Yeah, sweet.
I'll do that. But yeah, no, it's a massive waste of money. You don't need it.
Yeah.
If anyone's thinking about it.
Sorry, Steve. Yeah.
Sorry, Steve.
Yeah. Nah, I'll, crazy.
But no, sales is a big topic, man. Like, and like sometimes you kind of feel it's really a difficult industry as well. I think to kind of like get on like a podcast and comment about it because, like, you know,
Everyone's a genius.
yeah, mate. Like, there's some really good sales guys there. They've got some great systems that work for them, and they can coach and train people. And it's a bit of a cutthroat kind of industry. There's not many people out there with like really good. There's not many people out there with like really good sales systems that really work. Like you look at some of the outstanding and outlying companies and stuff like that and stuff. I'm not really worried about them because I look at the marketplace and just go, damn, there's so many people that their companies are really bad at sales. They need people to kind of just honest people to come in and go, hey man, what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like when you start getting involved in sales companies and stuff like that, and with certain groups, they kind of like they want like you know you to sign over your firstborn child and half your property before that you actually even engage with them. And like I guess with kind of like what I do is like I'm okay, man. I'll have a look under the bonnet, right? Like you cover me and like let's just do that. Like, let's see if I can do anything for you. Let's have a look at it. And you know what I mean? Like I don't mind doing that and just there's some small invoices there and stuff like that for my time and that, but just to have a look at it.
Yeah.
And then from there, that's when you can kind of go, hey, here's the strategy and da-da-da, and do what you want with it. You can do it yourself or, whatever. I don't think it's that broken. Like, I think it's actually pretty good. You should probably clean that up. Like, often sometimes companies just need someone to come in and go, hey, you're doing actually most of it right.
Yeah.
And often when you tell them the thing they're doing wrong, it's usually some person on the other end who goes, yeah, I kind of thought that may be it. And I'm like, you knew. You actually knew what was going wrong a little bit. But you didn't have the confidence or the knowledge to kind of go, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's what's killing you.
Yeah.
And then go and like execute it.
Yeah.
And sometimes they just need someone to be able to come in and just do a bit of consulting and go, hey man, look, it's what you're doing is actually great. You've got a great product. You've got a great lead in. You got all this kind of really good stuff going for you. it's actually, you're actually not far off.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, you know what I mean? So, and that's a great, like, contact, right? It's a great visit. Sometimes it's just how the customer, it's a customer journey.
Yeah.
And how they're brought in where you're like, oh, it's just not connecting at this point, and it's a bit clunky, right? There's a couple of, the messaging's not quite right on the way in, and then you're bolting this person, expecting them to work miracles, and it's just kind of just not really aligned. It's not working well, like it's not smooth. And then there's other times where you kind of go into a business and it's literally just the other people on the other end that are just like completely, kind of dysfunctional. There's not one person doing it. They're doing 6 different jobs, and kind of sales is like, shit, I've got a list to do and I've got that to do. And then I've got to get all the emails that are coming through and trying to get back to them with quotes. And I'm like, yeah, but this is new business, right? Like, you got to treat it like this is your gold.
It is.
In. So there's a little bit of that. So often there's a lot of companies out there that they don't really need sales coaching. They just need someone to kind of come in and
have a look.
Yeah,
but I love it, man. I love having chats with people that can talk to you objectively or ask you questions objectively about your business. That makes you think about it with emotion removed. They're trying to understand it in literally the most simplest form ever. Yeah. And sometimes it is just someone just going, oh, why do you do that? Yeah. And you just go, well, and you go, yeah, but just having someone just to bounce off and just ask you a couple of good questions. Yeah.
And you would get that a lot, right? Like in advertising, advertising is like getting from people from unaware to aware and all that kind of stuff. Like, you'd be having these conversations all the time.
We do, man.
And you want people that are, I guess, experts in their field or just really know what they're and you can fucking tell, man.
Yeah.
When someone's just blowing smoke up your ass.
Yeah.
And you know that they no idea what they're talking about. You can just tell, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, come on, bro. Yeah. Like, you're not going to say anything to it. Okay, man, thanks for coming in. And you know what I mean? Like, when you actually got someone who really knows what they're talking about, like, they can just cut to the bone. Yeah. Straight away and go, yep, cool, no worries, bang, bang, bang. And yeah, cool, man. So, it's not that hard. Yeah. It's not that difficult for someone who really knows their shit, when it comes to marketing or sales or anything, right? So there's a big disparity in the marketplace too. You got all these guys that want to be the best, but they just don't know what they're talking about yet, right? In digital space, sales space and stuff like that, they play the part, they're very good, but then you just got these guys in the industry that are like, hey man, we've been on this for a long time, we actually know what we're talking about. And I feel like there's just not a lot of people in between. Yeah. It's just like, you either know what you're talking about, or you're kind of like, or you're up and coming, you're fresh, you're telling everyone how good you are, and you're just not that good yet.
Yeah, you bro.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Big disparity, but yeah.
Bro, let's I'm gonna wrap this up, but let's do this.
I feel like we could have.
Dave and Blake.
We could talk some other.
We could, bro.
Yeah,
we could. This was cool.
Actually, talk some shit.
This is the professional one.
Yeah, this is a professional one. We're talking about a business, and stuff like that. But yeah, man, like I love. Like, one thing with me is I actually love watching your journey. Oh, like when I first met you, and we were kicking it in sales and stuff like that, and and that was really cool to watch you kind of progress and transform and stuff like that, and being a business partner at one point, and like running a company with you, and you know what I mean. Like, we become really good friends, but also just watching you, how you've shifted and you've changed, and it's like a snowball effect with the right person. When they're really exposed and they're surrounded by really good people and people that care about them and want them to do well, and you get involved in a company that starts to click with what you're aligned with, it's just amazing watching people snowball in their development. And that's what's happening with you right now. Is like, you kind of...
Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, you're snowballing and you're getting to this point where you're actually really... You're getting really knowledgeable and stuff in a lot of different areas. I think this podcast is actually... this is perfect for you. Because you know a lot of mad dogs, eh? You know a lot of really cool people from all different kinds of...
One sitting here, bro.
Man. Yeah.
No.
But so it's really cool to watch, man. It's good to see. I love what you're doing with your company. I always brag about your company and what you're doing. Thanks, and stuff like that. And it's just it's really cool to see, man. Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, love your podcast and what you're doing here. I'm a big fan already. Yeah, I might listen to a couple of them. I'm like, And it's cool to know some of the dudes too. You're like, this guy, yeah. I'm looking forward to Jonas's one.
Yeah, bro.
And
He's
coming
awesome.
out and stuff like that. So that was, it's cool.
I love it, man. Like it's so cool, bro. And yeah, I'm stoked, bro. And I don't want this to seem like it's the last one with anyone, bro. Like, and I want you to come back because we do have some shit, bro. But I appreciate that, man. And bro, honestly, man, I really meant that. Like, you've taught me so much shit, bro. I came into sales not even fucking knowing what sales was. Like, I remember going to that 2-week fucking course because someone sort of stitched me up a job and I sort of felt like I knew what I was doing and the idea of it and all that sort of stuff. And I had no idea, man. I just sort of got thrown in the trenches in a commission-only job. And fuck, did I learn some shit, though. Like, stuff that I learned. I think I only did that for 12 months. And, but God, that sharpened me up.
The growth, man.
The growth.
Like when you're in a high performing environment, especially in commission and stuff like that, and like, you know, everyone's looking to you for a result, you know, like it changes you. Like the amount of personal growth that you actually get in sales is phenomenal. It's unmatched.
I feel like that experience, particularly for me anyhow, was like the military for business.
It is.
And it was only sales. There were actually, I lie, because there was a pathway into management as well that I didn't go too deep into, but I wish I had all those manuals and things again.
Yeah, I kept a lot of them. A lot of them are up here.
Yeah.
But I kept a lot of them. But when I actually go back and look at them now,
Yeah.
are so outdated.
Are they?
Yeah.
Really?
And they're really kind of like, it's so funny because we've gotten so much better now and more intricate with the way things work, and it's been running for so long now that they're more like fundamental, like principles that don't really change, but the techniques do.
Yes, okay.
So I look back at them and go, oh yeah, I see what they were coaching.
Yeah.
That would have really have worked back then, but
Now.
that wouldn't fly now.
Right.
So
it's like watching an old movie you thought was awesome
is.
when you were a kid.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Bro, what are we watching?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, no, you're right. Like, it's cool. It's really good stuff. Like, I mean, you know, there's some really amazing books that have been written about sales and sales psychology and all that kind of stuff. There's some absolute legends.
What's your best one?
Oh, man, you can't go past, like, Zig Ziglar, eh?
Yeah,
like,
right.
the Zigs.
I don't even think I read any.
Oh, man, yeah. Like, I read a book, actually someone offered it to me and said, hey, man, I think you should read this, which was like a quiet sign in the property industry where I need to increase my close rate. And there was a book called The Closers, right?
Right.
And I read that, and that was amazing. Like, that was really good for the property industry, and like it totally changed my close rates when I read this book called The Closers. I can't remember who it was by. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Like, just looking at the common, like the algorithm or the common threads amongst really successful people, the thing that showed up the most, and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, positive power of positive thinking and stuff like that. They were really useful for me because I don't think I was a very powerful positive thinker when I started in sales, and I became one.
Yeah, fuck, you are now though. Bro.
Yeah, it's and I'm actually really lucky. I feel really lucky that I came into sales.
Okay.
I really do, because I felt like I was a little bit different in hospitality. I could be a little bit up and down or whatever as a chef, but yeah, in this industry, it really just exposes you for who you are. And if you're a negative thinker or pessimistic in any way, it does not fit in this space. Like, it just doesn't work. You have to be optimistic. You have to find a way through. So, yeah, I actually feel really lucky that I'm exposed to the sales industry. It really changed my mindset and the way I think and made me a positive person.
Bro, on that note, we'll wrap this up, but I want to ask you, what advice would you give to your younger self, bro?
Like, in terms of, like, if I was to go back in time.
Yeah, and you just had, and you went to see young Dave, what would you say to yourself?
Learn about money when I was younger. Like, get financial education. How does money work? I read a book called The Money Bomb. And I started to learn about fractional reserve banking and how money actually worked and how unintimidating it was when I really learned about it. And it really didn't, I learned a lot. I actually did really well in sales for a long time, but I didn't really know what to do with the money and stuff like that till later in my 20s and early 30s. And I look back and I go, whoa, man, if I had have got financial education when I was like 18, 19, 20, man, how different life would be, right? So for me, it was like the biggest thing for me with my knowledge would be like, dude, start to learn about that when you're like 18, 19. Just start talking to people, read some books. That's what I would do to myself, like on that side of things. But nothing else I'd change, man.
Awesome, bro.
Yeah, there's not really anything else I'd change, man. I've had such a cool life.
Go fishing more.
Yeah, like maybe not even that. I've done a shitload of fishing around. So yeah, Joe, I feel like I've done a lot of things. Like I just don't think I've ever missed out on anything, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I've had a really good life. I had an awesome family. And I feel like I've had a blast. Like I've had some awesome mates. I've always been laughing and having fun, and like I just don't think I've had an awesome life, man. I swear, it's the only thing I'd change.
Yeah,
it's just getting a little bit smarter with money a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
which I think it's really important for people these days just to understand how money works. It's such a trap.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean, learning about credit and you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, and just learning about it and going, hey, cool, this is actually how it works. That money you got in your bank account, it ain't real. Do you know what I mean? Like, and actually learning about it. You know, that was the thing that changed my life when I started working in the financial industry. I started to really get deep into it and learn about it. And I was like, damn, this is not what I thought it was, man. This is not as hard as I thought it was. Or, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's probably the only thing.
Awesome, my brother.
And make more mistakes.
Yeah.
Faster.
Fucking fail faster.
Fail faster.
Awesome.
But don't make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, that's it.
Right, cool.
All right. Thanks, gang.
Thanks, man.
DAB.
Peace out.
All right, that's enough.
Yeah, fuck.
Cool, bro.
Oh, yeah. That was all right.